The Devils have some huge decisions to make. Head coach Sheldon Keefe, GM Tom Fitzgerald have some big questions to answer when it comes to the bottom of this roster, particularly some guys who are going to be playing in some different lines. Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to Devils Digest. I'm your host, Ryan the Goose Gosiker, here with you, as always, bringing the latest, greatest Devils content as per usual. Before we get into the program, I want you to be a subscriber to the channel because it helps you stay up to date with all the breaking news. You get, first access to the video, stuff like that. So we want you to be a subscriber. We want to flip this number on its head. Our goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers by opening night. Okay, training camp right around the corner. We want to flip these numbers. So 60% of our viewers right now are those that are not subscribed to the channel. We want that number to be closer to 0, and we want the subscribe number to be as close to 100 as possible. So hit that subscribe button, and let's get right into the program. Today I want to talk about something that's going to be very, very important for New Jersey to address in training camp as we get into the season. So, and it's one thing that, I think if the Devils can find, it kind of helps us ease some stuff here with the roster. The big question mark is going to be, as I read this article about the way too early New Jersey Devils opening night forward predictions. Okay, so these are just predictions. Okay, remember, for the most part, the Devils' 12 forwards are basically set in stone. Okay, so it's just a matter of who's going to play with who, and let's see what this article has to say about who's going to go where, right? They're just days away from training camp. This is awesome. I can't wait. And I say that as a Met fan. The Mets, might flame out of the postseason. Okay. Certainly if they even make it, it seems like it could be an early exit. Okay. And the Giants football season is over and it's not even October yet. Okay. So I am looking forward to hockey. I'm looking forward to training camp getting back. Okay. So you see some of the bottom half of the roster, some of the additions that they've made, stuff like that. Okay, obviously injuries can change a lot of things. If there's a trade that comes up at the very end, that could change things, but we're not anticipating any of that. So first line, right off the bat, right, I think a little bit of a surprise of a name, Dawson Mercer being up there with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. Okay, there are two men, who are the Devils' other top six forward, and who is their third line center? Dawson Mercer could be the answer to both of those questions. He's either going to be the other top six winger or he's going to fill a role as a third line center. So again, this is what and we've talked a lot in this offseason about this is Dawson Mercer has to step up for this team to be successful. He has to take a leap, okay? And that leap we haven't seen in 2 years. 2 years, almost 3 years, okay? So Dawson needs to take that jump and he needs to become a more consistent player, playing with, the two of the Devils' best players is certainly one way to be able to do that. Okay, so if we just want to take a look real quick at Dawson's stat line last season, okay, 82 games like he has played. I think it's every season of his career. Okay, only 19 goals, 17 assists for 36 points. We want Dawson more at that 50-point mark. Okay, and obviously just continuing to do his thing, and he's had to play a little bit of center because that's what New Jersey has needed him to do, okay? So if they can get away with moving him to a winger spot, I think, that's something they would like to do. But if they can't, then they're going to have to slide him back to the third center, and that would move Cody Glass down to the fourth center. So right off the bat, I think a very interesting prediction, okay, going, Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, and then, obviously we knew those two were going to be together, but putting Dawson Mercer with those two, I think is a very interesting start to this whole conversation. But he's also, if you're just reading this article, Mercer could be good fit for Jack Hughes. He does enough defensive work, I should say, that allows Jack to kind of free for all on offense without necessarily the Devils always getting burnt on the back end. So that's something that's very important, okay? And the expectation is Jesper Bratt continuing to have great seasons as long as he can stay healthy and on the ice, which has not been a problem for him. I'm just, you always worry about injury especially in high contact sports like this. Even in non-contact, not high contact sports, you always worry about injury. So Jesper Bratt, expect him to have another big year. Could this be the year he gets to that 100-point plateau? The Devils have never had a 100-point scorer in franchise history. So that would be very, very interesting and very great, obviously, for Jesper Bratt to hit. But let's see, how that line would kind of mesh. Line 2, excuse me, I didn't mean to skip line 2. Timo, Meier, Nico, Hischier, Stefan, Nason. I think this is an interesting line. One being, I knew Nico and Timo would be together, and I think Nason brings a net front presence. Like, Timo has played more physical over the last few years since he's gotten to New Jersey, and he's really become like almost like a power forward type guy when he'll dump and chase and hit people. But I think Nason is still that net front presence, and I think Timo still loves, ratcheting it up from the wing. Okay, so I think that's a good mix. Nason coming off a career high season in goals last year. A lot of that was aided by his addition to the power play, which is because he's really the only net front presence the Devils have. He's really good at the front of the net. So, I like this line. I'm not surprised by this at all. Okay, I think this is, what we kind of, expected. And let's take a look at Stefan Nason's, season last year. 22 goals, as I mentioned, a career high. 19 assists, which is good as well. 41 points. If you would have told me when the Devils signed Stefan Nason that they were getting 41 points out of him, I would have thrown a party down Mulberry Street. Okay, that is, I'll take that any day of the week. You weren't expecting Stefan Nason to come over here, score 60 to 70 points, and dominate that way. And he's done a really, really good job, as I mentioned. So I'm not surprised. I feel like this line pretty much, this feels like a lock, in my opinion. Like, this should be a line that gets locked together. Let them play together a lot and just keep things rolling. So let's continue to roll on. Line 3. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Gritsuk, Glass, Dadonov. This is, right? These are two new guys, and Cody Glass has only been here for less than half a season. Like, less than a quarter of a season, really. So it's basically an entire new third line. Okay, so again, this is under the presumption that the Devils are choosing to use Dawson Mercer as a winger instead of a center. If they're using Dawson Mercer as a center, then he would fit in this line. This would be Gritsuk, Mercer, Dadonov, or Dadonov would potentially move up, I guess, where Mercer was. I don't know exactly how they would do it, but this, again, Mercer being the winger in these predictions, okay. Now, Cody Glass is your 3C. Okay, we need to see what Cody Glass the Devils get. Are they getting the guy that played like his hair was on fire when he first got over here? Or are they getting the guy that came back from injury that I didn't think was particularly good late? Okay, so but he's got the whole off season. Let's see how he rolls. Line 4: Andre Palat, Paul Cotter, Connor Brown. Now, it's really weird to see Paul Cotter slotted in as the 4C. And I'm just looking at the article here, but Paul Cotter is good enough to play the position. So you're talking about the Devils they have a lack of depth at their center position, and now you're talking about just moving a guy to center. Like, this isn't like a Bordelot thing. Like, this isn't a Lamico. I'm not even sure if Lamico is the center, but the point is they've just, in these predictions, they've just opted to play Paul Cotter at center. So that's an interesting thing to me. And look at the rise and fall of Andre Palat. I think last year, if you would have looked at this, you would have been like, man, he's probably playing up with that first line. Paul Cotter coming off another career year. Okay, he was excellent last year. And Connor Brown, the new addition to the Devils roster, it should be very interesting. Just trying to look at some seasons here. Whoops, excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay, Andre Palat, 15 goals, 13 points, 13 assists, 28 total points. That's just not going to cut it. And you have to understand the frustration with with Andre Palat. And the fact that, again, like I said, he's probably in that line 1 last year, and now this is line 4. Now, this is a completely different looking line 4 than what the Devils had going into last season, right? With the likes of Nate Bastian, Kurtis Lazar. Okay, I think Cotter was still down there, but obviously we saw some really good stuff from Cotter last year, some really bad stuff too that hopefully he's fixing and that Keefe has them, fixing. The moral of this article that I presented to you guys is really the key for New Jersey, and in my opinion, is using training camp to find the best combinations and take those and let those guys play together in the regular season. Let them go stretches of games. I know the Sheldon Keefe special is to be switching guys each and every night and this and that and the other thing. But let guys play together. So use training camp to find the best possible combinations. If Paul Cotter can make it work at center, then let Paul Cotter make it work at center. See what it looks like, and let's see what this roster looks like by the time training camp is over. So, man, I just can't wait. I'm so excited for hockey season, and I'm so excited for everybody here to be a part of the Devil's Digest community. We appreciate you. We thank you for listening, for watching, however you're consuming this content. We ask that you subscribe to the channel, okay? We need to get that not subscribed number as close to 0 and that subscribed number as close to 100 as possible. And we got to reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers by opening night. We need your help. And I want you to leave a comment. What do you think about those line combinations? Again, they're not my line combinations, okay? Those are just some predicted line combinations. What are your thoughts? Who should move up? Who should move down? Who should play with who? I want to hear what you, the fans, have to say about that. So let us know, and we'll catch you next time on Devil's Digest.